Alright guys, so like I said, I want to practice today taking notes off a video again on days that I'm not here. What does it typically look like? What are you guys responsible? And again, it's going to work the same way as if I was here. Um, so make sure you guys follow along, pay very, very close attention to the directions. And again, all of this is going in your notebook, so you guys are taking notes, and at the end of it, you'll have your typical class activity, just like you guys have been doing. So what I want you guys to do is take a second, try this warm-up. So you're going to pause the video right here, try the warm-up, and then when you have your answer, hit play. I'm going to run through it and see if you got it correct. All right, so again, pause the video right now and try this warm-up on your own. All right, so let's see if you got it correct. So we have parentheses, and I see that I have a fraction up front. I do have to distribute that fraction. Okay, so that fraction, 1/2, I multiply times 12. Remember, 1 times 12 is 12, right over here. And then 12 divided by the 2 gives us 6. So this actually turns into a 6x. Now let's do that one more time. Distribute. What is 1 times that -8? Well, 1 times -8 is just -8. And I divide it immediately by the 2 down below, which gives me -4. So I have 6x minus 4 is equal to, let me just drop down my 4. All right, the next thing that I have to do here is I have to get rid of my -4 by saying +4 to both sides. These guys will cancel out. You're left with 6x is equal to 4 plus 4 is 8. The last thing we have to do here is divide both sides by 6. Divide by 6. X is equal to, now again, I can't divide 8 by 6, but I can do better than that. I can actually reduce that fraction. I can divide top and bottom by, can I divide by here? Let's divide by 2. So x is going to equal, what is 8 divided by 2? That's 4. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So again, the simplified version would be 4/3. All right, let's move on here. All right, guys, what I need you to do at this point is I need you to copy the title like you normally do, solving equations with combining like terms. Again, we're going to talk about what happens when you have variables on both sides. So again, copy down that title and then move on. And again, at any point, guys, if you need to rewind, pause the video, please, please, please do so. All right, so today's objective, okay, you'll be able to explain to a peer how to solve a multi-step equation. We're still solving for a variable, but when you have variables on both sides. Okay, so what I mean by that, again, variables on both sides should turn that in red. Here's an example that I have, solve for x, and you notice that I have 6x on the left side of the equal sign, and I also have 8x on the right-hand side. So how does that work when you have variables on both sides? All right, in order to understand that, we need to talk about combining like terms. So for example, if I just give you guys a bunch of pictures here, right? I have 2 hamburgers, fry, a drink, 3 hamburgers, 2 fries here, and then 2 drinks. Well, I can kind of rewrite this using algebra. Instead of saying 2 burgers, I can just say 2b. For 1 fry, I can say 1f or just f. For 1 drink, same thing, I can say 1d or just d. Okay, same thing here. 3 burgers, so I say 3b. 2 fries, I say 2f. 2 drinks, I say 2d. Now, which ones are the like terms? Well, obviously here we have hamburgers and hamburgers, right? Those are alike. So I know that I have 2 burgers and 3 burgers, which gives me a total of 5 burgers. And again, we go through and we combine our like terms. I have 1 fry there. I have 2 fries there. So 1 fry and 2 fry will give me a total of 3 fry. And it works the same with your drinks. So that's what we mean by combining like terms. Now, what does combining like terms look like when you have an actual algebraic problem? Okay, well, here we see that I have 1, 2, 3y, so I say put 3y plus just the number 2 is equal to, now this is perfectly balanced, to 2y's plus 4. Well, how do I solve this, right? How do my issue is I have variables on the left, variables on the right. Well, let's get them together over to one side. Now again, that's where it's perfectly balanced. That's your equal sign. Now I know some of you guys like to draw that line. That's actually very important here. How can I get this 2y to come over to the other side? Well, remember, it's all about doing the inverse operations. This right now is a positive 2y, so I have to say minus 2y to both sides. Well, what's 3y's minus 2y's? That's just going to be 1y plus 2 is equal to, these will cancel out just to 4. Hey, look at that. I have a one-step equation. Let me subtract 2 from both sides. 2 from both sides. Those will cancel out. Y is equal to 2, and there we have it. So again, our job today is to get the variables on the exact same side. Now, it doesn't matter what side you get them on. You could have actually done this the other way around by moving the 3y to the other side. So let's jump into a few examples. What does it actually look like? What are your problems going to be expected, that you're going to be expected to do? Take a second. Let's copy this one down. All right. So again, I noticed that I have variables on both sides, and that's bugging me right now. So when I move the 5x over or the 2x over, now again, it's completely up to you, whichever one you pick. All right, I normally like to take the smaller one. So in this case, the 2. And I'm going to say, hey, let me get rid of this by saying minus 2. But I'm not going to take it away from the 10. Whatever I do to one side, right here, I have to do the other. But it's not going to be to the 10. It's going to be to the one that has the x. Notice both of these have variables. So I'm going to say minus 2x. Well, the 2x's will cancel out. 5x's minus 2x's gives us 3x. Drop down my minus 10. It's equal to negative 1. Look at that. It became a two-step equation at this point. This should be a piece of cake. Let's add 10 to both sides. Add 10 to both sides. My 10s will cancel out. I now have 3x is equal to 10, and a minus 1 gives us 9. I got one last thing I have to do here. I have to divide both sides by 3, and x is equal to 3. So again, personally, I always just like to move the smaller number over to the other side. All right, let's try the other one on the right here. All right. So notice, I'm throwing distribution at you guys, right? So just like the warm-up, I have parentheses. Let's go ahead and distribute. We always want to take care of distribution first. I don't want to move the 3x over, the 5x over just now. I always take care of distribution first. What's 2 times 3x? That's 6x. What's 2 times the 2? That's going to be 4. Let me bring everything else back down. All right, and again, we run into this issue here of I have variables on both sides. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Let's keep this equation balanced. I have the 6x and I have the 5x. Well, again, personally, I like to take the smaller one. So I'm going to get rid of this 5 by saying minus 5x. Minus 5x. And again, notice x is with x is. I can't take away 5x from something that's just a 4. So 6x's minus 5x's is 1x, or just x, plus 4 is equal to, these guys canceled out, so I was just left with 7. Hey, this is a one-step equation here, piece of cake. Minus 4, these guys will cancel out. X is equal to 3. All right, and that's how we do it again. When you have variables on both sides, guys, you got to be careful. We're still talking about inverses, right? What's the opposite? But make sure you combine it with the other like term on the other side. Be careful with doing something like a 5x and a 4. Those are not like terms. Keep those separate. All right, take a second, guys. Pick your favorite problem. Okay, pause the video. When you're ready to see the answers, hit play and we'll run through it. All right, so here we go. Let's do standard met first. All right, let's see. There's my equal sign. It's perfectly balanced right now. Well, now what I'm going to do again, I want to take the smaller one. Again, personally, I prefer to do this so you guys can see. I'm going to say minus 3x and minus 3x to the other side of the equal sign. The 3x's will cancel out. I have now negative 5, drop down the negative, is equal to 5x's minus 3x's gives me 2x's plus 1. Now, yeah, it looks a little awkward. It's just backwards, right? I'm not used to having my variable on the right, but it works the same way. Okay, I want to get the x by itself, so I'm going to kick over the 1 right now. How do I get rid of a plus 1? Minus 1. Minus 1. What is negative 5 and negative 1? That's negative 6 is equal to 2x. Last thing we do here is we divide both sides by 2. Divide by 2. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. The 2's canceled out. Negative 3 is equal to x. Or you can flip it the other way around and say x is equal to negative 3. There we have it. So again, if you got negative 3, good job on that. All right, let's move over to the beyond standard. All right, again, all I'm really doing is just throwing in distribution. So let's go ahead and take care of that. 6 times 2x is 12x. 6 times negative 3, again, be careful with your sign. That's going to be a negative 18, is equal to, drop down everything else exactly how we see it. All right, now again, I run into this issue that I have variables on both sides. I got 20x and I have 12x. Now again, it's up to you whichever one you want to move. Personally, again, I like to stick with the smaller one so that my answer ends up being a positive. So let's go ahead and say minus 12x. And again, you can't take away this minus 12x from the 2 because this 2 doesn't have a variable. Okay. These guys look the same again. They both share x's. Now 12x minus 12x cancels out. Negative 18 is equal to 20x's minus 12x's gives us 8x minus 2. Just bring down that 2. All right. Let me go ahead and now let's see. It's a little awkward, right? Because it's backwards. But again, I'm still trying to get this x by itself. Let me get rid of that minus 2 by saying plus 2 plus 2. Negative 18 plus 2 is negative 16 is equal to 8x. I got one more thing I have to do here is to get rid of that 8. How do we get rid of this 8? Divide both sides by 8. Careful. Negative divided by positive is a negative. 16 divided by 8 is 2. And the 8's canceled out. So negative 2 is equal to x. And there we have it. All right, guys. You got one more I need you guys to try out, and we'll jump right into the class activity. So again, pause the video here. When you're ready to move on, hit play. All right. So let's go through this, guys. I'm running here close out of time, so I do have to rush this a bit, but let's go ahead. Negative 3 times negative 3x, that's going to be a positive 9x. Negative 3 times 6, a positive 6, that's going to be negative 18. Careful, careful, careful with your signs. Make sure you're checking as we go. Drop down everything else. All right. Now let's go ahead and take care of my variables on both sides. Well, I have a 9x and I have a 10x. Let me move over the small one by saying minus 9x. Minus 9x. These guys cancel out. You're left with negative 18 is equal to 10x's minus 9x's just gives us 1x or just x. Drop down to minus 8. How do I get rid now of that minus 8? I say plus 8. Plus 8. 8's cancel out. Negative 18 plus 8 gives me negative 10 is equal to x. And there we have it. All right, let's try this last one here beyond standard. Now I throw in that fraction, right? Let's go ahead and do that. 1/2 times 4. 1 times 4 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2x's. 1 times negative 12 is negative 12. Negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. It's equal to 3x minus 3. Let's go ahead and take care of those variables first. Get them together on the same side. All right. Now again, I'm going to show you guys, would it still work if I move the bigger one? If I said minus 3x and minus 3x, that's all right. These guys canceled out. And again, you're combining it with the one that has an x. So it's like terms. So 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Now again, I come up with the negative. So it's going to add one extra little step that I have to do at the end. But it's doable. All right. Let's go ahead and get rid of now the minus 6 by doing plus 6 to both sides. Those cancel out. I get negative 1x is equal to 6 and a minus 3 is 3. Last thing I have to do is get rid of that negative 1. Well, how do I get rid of that negative 1? I divide both sides by negative 1. X is equal to negative 3. All right. There we have it. All right, guys. So again, the objective for today is what happens when we have variables on both sides, right? So work with distributive property first if that pops up, and then get your variables together. Again, personally, I like to move the smaller one, but it's completely up to you. It's all about inverse operations, doing the opposite, doing the opposite. All right, guys, here you have it. This is your class activity. You guys have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 problems. Find the missing value. Again, that's a fancy way to say solve for x. All right, when you're done, guys, come see me. I'll check your answers. I'll sign off on it. You guys can turn it into the inbox and have a nice day. All right. Thank you, guys. Oh, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. I do raffles, giveaway. No, I'm kidding. Okay. Make sure you guys get started on your class activity.